Hi, welcome to RC Woodworking Hand Tools. I'm Rob Cosman. Our mission is to share the peace and joy obtained through the craftsmanship of hand tool woodworking with the world. And we do this by designing and making fine hand tools, by providing quality training, and encouraging excellence. If you see the tools displayed in front of me on my bench, these are the tools that we sell. In fact, I use the tools I sell and I sell the tools I use. And I don't mean that I sell you used tools. What I mean is that these tools have been developed from the students that I've taught requesting the tools that I had either made or modified for myself. And we have grown this business to develop that market. Interesting enough, all of the tools, from including my shooting board to my right, are ones that we actually manufacture right here in our shop. And most of the tools on my left are tools that I've either been involved in the design and development of, or been very close to the manufacturing. Now, we are a family-owned and operated company. We maintain our own inventory. We do our own processing and order shipping. In fact, we try to get your order out the same day that you place it. My woodworking career started as a young boy. My dad was a shop teacher who turned into a carpenter contractor, and as a young kid I would tag along to the job site, and as long as I had some wood, a hammer and some nails, and a saw, I was good to go. And that continued right through into my teenage years. I was always building things. I was fortunate to grow up around a pretty good supply of wood and enough tools. And I really took to hand tools. And whether that was my father trying to protect me from machines, I don't know. But I did discover woodworking machines later on. However, in the early 1980s, I attended Brigham Young University in an attempt to learn how to do this and support a family. I had the very good fortune in the summer of '87 to work with some of the biggest names in woodworking. Dale Nish, who was my mentor at BYU, made arrangements for me to be able to work as an assistant to people like Sam Maloof, Tay Frid, Alan Peters, Peter Korn, Silas Koff, Monroe Robinson. These are some of the biggest names in woodworking at the time. And they really turned me on my ear. And that summer was the turning point in my career. I knew what I wanted to do for a living. Unfortunately, I didn't realize that money had to follow. We started having our children, and by the time the late 90s rolled around, I think we had 6 children at the time, that had outstripped my ability to feed them. I was very fortunate to get a call from the manufacturer of a very, very exclusive line of high-quality hand tools, and they were looking for somebody to bring this tool line into Canada. I didn't think that there would be a market for it, but I knew I wanted the tools because of their quality. Well, a couple years later, I was doing it full-time, and in the process of selling these hand tools, mostly to hobbyists, I realized that a lot of these guys did not know how to sharpen, they didn't know how to cut dovetails, they were buying these tools without the ability to get maximum use out of them. I started doing seminars, which led to invitations to teach, which led to producing instructional videos. In fact, we got to the point where I think we produced 19 videos that turned into DVDs. And along the way, as I noticed that the average age of the fellows that were buying these tools were in their 50s and getting into their 60s, that a lot of these tools had small adjustment knobs on them, and if you've got a bit of arthritis, your ability to manipulate those small bits was very difficult. And I didn't seem to find anybody interested in changing tools to suit the customer, so I did it. And that led to us developing our own product line. In fact, my dovetail saw, the very idea of having these little tiny starter teeth at the beginning to make it easier to start the saw precisely, grew out of watching these folks buy the saw that I was selling and not be able to use it accurately. Well, this has continued. I pay more attention now to my customer, and I'm constantly trying to find a way, how can we make this so that these people in their 60s can get up to speed as quick as possible and start to produce these heirloom quality pieces that they've been dreaming about. We recently came up with a device that goes on the end of your dovetail saw that helps you master that plumb cut. That's the most critical cut when it comes to cutting dovetails. If you can't get that plumb cut right, the joint will not go together properly. So that's kind of the backstory as to where all of this, or how all of this started and where it is today. Woodworking training and education is a big part of our business. In fact, back in 2010, we started an online workshop. This is a membership-based workshop where we broadcast a half-hour training episode 5 days a week. We actually have 2 workshops. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is a power tool workshop. Tuesday and Thursday is a hand tool workshop. Let me explain. On Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we build furniture using both hand tools and power tools. In fact, the cabinet that I've been leaning against is a working prototype. The idea was that we would build the prototype, stop, live with it for 3 or 4 months, make any modifications we needed to make it more user-friendly, and then once we were settled on the design, we would go back and rebuild it using the finished woods. In this case, it's going to be bird's eye maple and mahogany. On the hand tool workshop, I'm actually sitting on a partially finished shaker bench. And in this workshop, we don't use any power tools. From selecting the lumber to applying the finish, it's all with hand tools. Something you can literally do in your bedroom. In fact, as a result of having this online workshop and being able to correspond with so many woodworkers around the world, we've actually been able to develop some tools with their feedback. If you've been looking at my apron wondering what it's all about, I'd love the opportunity to tell you. A couple of years ago, my life changed. I was contacted by a young man named Jesse, and he was looking for a dovetail saw. And he had told me in the course of a conversation that because he had gotten involved with hand tool woodworking, it was the first time that he'd had any relief from the pain and suffering that he lives with as a result of his combat injuries. Well, that really struck me. I had become accustomed to teaching 45, 55-year-old business executives who would come to my week-long workshop, and by Friday they had so de-stressed they were different people. Well, here was an opportunity to take that same process and apply it into the lives of the heroes that took a bullet for you and for I and are now having to live with the consequences for the rest of their life. So, our Purple Heart Project does 3 things. Number 1, twice a year, 2 weeks in April, 2 weeks in November, we fly in to Niagara Falls, Ontario, 6 disabled wounded veterans. We cover, as a result of the generosity of lots of folks and some other companies, we fly them in, we take care of their hotel, their meals, and we get to send each one of them home with $2,000 worth of hand tools so that they can continue this when they're at home. We do this out of the generosity from so many people. Something else we do, our online workshop that normally costs $400 a year for all 5 workshops, 52 weeks a year, we give that free for life to any disabled veteran. This gives as many as want the opportunity to discover woodworking and to see if it's for them. If they like it and they want to participate, but circumstances in life are such that they can't afford it, every time we sell one of our saws, we put 10% of that into a tool fund. That, along with some donations from some other folks, enables us to send these guys, at their request, a kit of tools to help them get started. Sometimes they're new, sometimes they're used, but I personally make sure that the tools work, we pack them up, and we send them to them. If you would like to help this cause, you can visit GoFundMe.com, search Cosman, and you'll find our fundraiser on there. You're welcome to contact us directly if you would like to contribute that way, or if you'd like to buy a saw, remember, 10% of it goes into this fund. We certainly appreciate your time, your attention, and your caring of this very worthy cause.